keep the place neat and tidy.
Yeah, well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Okay, our visitors, I believe we have a number of visitors tonight. We have Chris Lenihan. Chris, can you please be upstanding? Now, can we get a microphone to Chris, please, Connor? Oh, Callum, sorry, Callum. Come on, sorry. So can you tell everyone what you drive, please?
I drive a 100 series.
100 series, welcome. Welcome to the club.
It's a turbo diesel.
Beautiful.
Anything else you'd like to know?
No, just
I can't sing, so please don't ask.
And I assure you I can't sing either, and I'm sure if anyone's questioning it, but Sherry down the back can verify that for you. Okay. Next visitor we have is Robert Fink. Robert Fink, where are you in the room? Can you please be standing nice and easy for you there, mate? Tell everybody what you drive.
I've got a 200 series.
200 series, well done and welcome. Welcome tonight. Hope you enjoy yourself. And finally, we've got Stephen Cara Griffiths. And what sort of vehicle do you guys drive?
200.
Another 200. Welcome to the club. Okay. Looks like the 200s are reigning supreme tonight. We've got Tony Cooper coming up, and he's going to tell you all about the final solution to the Donaldson solution to the dusting issue for the 200 series. So when Tony's right, and we'll get a presentation up. Welcome, Tony.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank the club for inviting me here tonight and Wazza for teeing it all up. My name's Tony Cooper, and I've been with Donaldson Australia as a territory manager for Victoria and Tassie for the last 15 years. So who are Donaldson? Donaldson was founded in 1915 by Frank Donaldson when, believe it or not, he invented the world's first air cleaner. Since then, Donaldson Company has become one of the world's leading OEM filter manufacturers. We've got over 44 factories in 26 countries on every continent on the earth except Antarctica. We've got over 100 technical laboratories and more than 2,700 active patents. So one of the most common things we get asked is where Donaldson filters are made. That gives you an idea. The rule of thumb is that the product is typically manufactured nearest to where it is required. So in regard to our XLC 200K Land Cruiser air housing, it's made in one of our company-owned facilities in China because China was simply the closest factory that had that capability and had the spare capacity to make it for us. If we had said we wanted made somewhere else, they said, no, we haven't got room, so China or nothing. China it was. And all of our factories across the world all conform to the same stringent ISO standards. So realistically, it makes no difference. Locally, that's our facility at Wyong in New South Wales. And that's where we have our head office, manufacturing, warehousing and distribution. Around 75% of the filters we sell in Australia, as in Donaldson sell, are made in that factory. So we have a very large manufacturing base locally. And the good thing is it's been growing. We're investing in the plant, and that distribution centre is currently being expanded by around about 50%. So it's going to get a lot bigger than what it already is, and it's huge now. Okay. So the 200 series. For many years, you've lost it. It's still there, it's not there. I'll keep talking. For many years, myself and my colleagues had been hearing some horror stories about serious engine dusting problems faced by owners of 200s. And I'm talking over 10 years ago. Not long after I started, I was hearing about them. Initially, we didn't worry ourselves too much about it because it's not our core business. Donaldson's core business is really big things that burn diesel. So earth moving, Class 8 trucks, agriculture, that sort of stuff. But we kept hearing about it, and after a while, and not seeing anyone actually addressing it, we thought, all right, let's see what we can do. And this was purely our guys locally. So being a global company, the first thing we had to do was convince our bosses in the US. They don't have many 200s in the US. They've got Chevy subdivisions and the likes. So they weren't really interested. So that took about 4 years. Eventually we won. They gave us the green light, and here we are. Now we know that the 200 is only one of several problem vehicles, and coincidentally, all of those problem vehicles share the same badge. We don't pick on Toyota. I drive one. My Prado's parked out in the car park. It's just that that's how it is. Currently, we are in the process of developing a similar product for the 70 series V8. We'll follow that with a GUN Hilux, and the 300 will probably follow after that because we know it's got an issue. But from an economic standpoint, there's not enough of them on the road at the minute for us to justify it. So why do we need an air filter? Everyone knows. It's to protect the engine from damaging dust and all the other stuff that it doesn't want to ingest. Dust ingress over time will cause a lack of power, oil consumption, premature turbo failure, and eventually complete engine failure. As little as a cup full of dust is all it'll take to destroy an engine. People often don't realise that the thing your vehicle consumes more than anything else is air. Often more than 10 to 20,000 litres of air for every litre of diesel burnt. So for every tank full of diesel you burn, the air filter has to clean 1 million or more litres of air. So it's very, very important. When we were designing the XLC 200K element, we wanted to use our very best filter media. So we chose our blue ultra web media. What ultra web is this microscopic layer of fine fibres applied on the outside or the dirty side of a normal air filter. And this acts like a highly efficient sieve, and we're talking nanofibers. It's very, very fine. Only the very small dust particles actually get through that and get trapped and block the element. So it lasts a lot longer. And the larger bits of stuff literally just accumulate on the outside, and they really don't restrict the airflow that much, oddly. Okay. Now, because we're an aging audience here, people will know a bit of history. So the story behind ultra web media goes back to the first Gulf War in 2001, when George W. Bush, the first one, decided to teach Saddam Hussein a lesson and kick him out of Kuwait. So prior to that, the US military machine was designed to fight in jungles, snow, rolling hills of Europe, that sort of thing, not deserts. So before they sent their tanks over, they thought they'd better try them in a desert and see how they went. The results were not that good because the M1 Abrams main battle tank lasted 20 miles in a desert before the air filter was blocked. So they thought, we better do something about that. So they contacted us because we have a lot of military connections in the US. Our guys used our ultra web media in conjunction with a bit of reverse pulse, which is blowing the airflow backwards and blowing the stuff off the filter. And the range of the tank was increased from 20 to 200 miles. So happy days. Away they went. The rest is history. Okay. So with the best media decided on, now it was a case of just getting the packaging right. So the Donaldson Power Core technology, which is that style of housing there, it sort of looks similar to the Land Cruiser one, allows for a much higher airflow to be gained in a much smaller footprint. So in following slides, there'll be some animations that show you how that all works, but effectively we can fit 2 to 3 times the amount of filter media in the same size package. And because it's got a more direct flow, it gives less restriction to the engine. What is restriction? Restriction is simply the resistance of air to flow and is created by all of the bits involved in your intake system. There's two critical measurements of it. First is initial restriction, and that's basically the level of restriction when everything is brand new. And the second, and a number over which we have no control, is the final restriction number, which is set by the vehicle manufacturer. That's the point at which they say the restriction's high enough now, you need to put a new filter in it. So most big heavy diesels that we deal with, this number is sort of between 25 and 30, although we believe, but Toyota won't tell us, that the 200 or the VDJ engine is a number about 40. So it's much higher. Next. So our Land Cruiser option, XLC 200K, was developed to solve the problem of dust ingress into the engine causing premature engine failure. It wasn't developed as a performance enhancing product, and that's what people have to understand. When installed on a standard vehicle with no modifications, it provides some modest performance gains in either power or fuel economy. You won't get both together. A lot of people feel a bit more power, so their right foot goes down harder, and then they say, okay, how come my fuel economy's gone down? You're driving it harder. Where things get a bit tricky is when we introduce modifications and performance upgrades. So having released this product, we've now learnt that not all snorkels are created equal. We don't make snorkels, but there's a plethora of them out there. And this has been well proven by differing results people are seeing by courtesy of our restriction indicator, which comes standard on our housing now. All snorkels add restriction to the system because you put more bits in the intake, but they will vary across the brand of them depending on how good they are, or how well designed they are. I shouldn't say good. Some add significant amounts, and our indicators will reflect this. And because our little indicator has a little ratchet thing in it, that means that when it gets to a point, it will not go back. So it senses the highest amount. So it always shows the worst case scenario, which can be a bit challenging at times because people tend to panic when it goes red. At highway cruising speed, I can assure you that if you're just cruising down the road at 100 Ks, and you haven't got a big heavy trailer on the back, the restriction will be virtually minimal. Despite, it might have got really high just before when you climbed up a hill or whatever. So then we come to performance or horsepower upgrades. The standard 200 requires 600 cubic feet of air per minute, rule of thumb, to work efficiently. But every time you increase the output of that engine, so if you go from 200 kilowatts to 300, you've suddenly needed another 300 cubic feet of air through the same sized air cleaner housing. So the restriction goes up with it. It's unavoidable. So it should be it should also be remembered if you change from a standard housing to ours and you haven't changed anything else on the vehicle, that this increased restriction was happening before. The only difference is now we've put an indicator on there to tell you that it's happening, and now you can see it. So next one. Now just go through that because it just. Oops. Okay. These are just the animations to show you sort of how the housing works and how the airflow works and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, this is the one where there. I feel a bit slow. I apologise for the speed of these. I didn't design this slide. It's a speed up. Yeah. Yep. Feel free to ask any questions. How many more are there? Okay, I think that's the last one. Right, go again. And again. And one more. And this one shows how the power core media itself works. Picture corrugated cardboard blocked off at opposite ends. So dirty air goes in one end, can't go out the other. So the clean air just goes from one tube to the one beside it. So effectively the filter itself is a big bucket. It just holds a whole lot of dirt. Okay. So while I'm at it, I should also say that we offer a complete range of filters for all of the four-wheel drive. The only thing we don't do is we don't do petrol models very well. So if you say you've got a 100 series petrol, then sadly we probably haven't got the fuel filter, that sort of stuff. Because we, as I said at the start, we focus on stuff that runs on diesel, not so much petrol. So sadly the petrol ones get a bit ignored in our world. But we've got filter kits for Prados, Hiluxes, all of those, including cabin filters. Next one. And using our filters will not affect the vehicle warranty. And we have a full aftermarket warranty to cover any eventuation. That's it. Thank you. Feel free to hit me with any questions if you have any.
Quick question. Most of us are used to using compressed air to blow the dust out of the filters when we stop on the side of a track.
Yep. We hate that idea and it voids our warranty because not everyone does it the same. So we can't have a one size fits all when some people can use a high pressure air blower as like a cutting torch. Depending on how you use it, it can damage the media, or if you do it reasonably well, it extends the life of your filter. But sadly, we have to have a one size fits all warranty policy and we have to cover ourselves. So yes, I've known customers that have blown filters out for 20 years without a problem, and I've known other customers that within 12 months of someone starting the process, they've got dusted engines. So it's a bit of a hard one.
Two questions for you, mate, if I may. Pertaining to the air filter, you've just mentioned compressed air blowing them out. How effective is tapping them out?
Again, one man's tapping is another man's bashing. I have seen some classics. If you've got the classic are the old air filters, the round cylindrical ones with the metal ends. I've seen so many dented metal ends from being bashed on the ground, bashed on a tyre. Whenever you dent that metal end, you have simply broken the potting mix, which is the glue that holds the media to the end cap, and guarantee you've broken it. And now you've got a dust gap between the two, so that the dust just goes straight around the outside. So if you tap, that's fine. If you bash, that's not fine.
You've made me very happy there because mine don't ever complain about being brutalised.
Yeah.
Another question for you. You said you're into diesel filtration. On the Toyota V8 motors, are you making fuel filters?
Yep.
For those to replace the factory ones?
Yeah, we've got the original one, and the later ones had a slightly bigger one with a different. So we have both styles. I think they changed it in 2019 or something.
Excellent. Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Now, I was asked by David about catch cans and what our thoughts are on those. My personal thought on a catch can is if you run an unmodified vehicle, you don't need one. As soon as you start modifying them, you probably do. But like I said, that's a personal opinion. Our company makes catch cans in the US. We didn't bother bringing any of that product into Australia because our friends at Man and Hummel, who make the Provent 100 and 200, pretty much had that market covered. And the biggest problem I see with that market is when you go to buy the replacement filters for them, if you buy the decent one, it's about sort of 70 to $100. But you can go on eBay and buy any quantity of cheap rubbish for 15 to $20. And if you put one of them in, you are going to have a problem. So we thought, do we want to enter into this when we have our catch can and an eBay filter in it and they're going to blame us for buggering the engine? No. Right. The question is, who do we use for installs? In the Melbourne CBD, for a start, this thing is simple. Anyone with a 10mm spanner, a Phillips head screwdriver and a couple of things will do it in less than half an hour. It's not difficult. But if you're not confident and you want someone to fit it, there's a couple of people around. I personally know a bloke, Aaron Carlton, who runs Attock Autos in Belgrave South. Really respectable bloke. And if you bought the housing off him or you buy it off Wazza, probably won't charge you much at all to fit it because it doesn't take very long.
Sorry. Donaldson also make pre-filters. Is there any pre-filters you could suggest for the 200 series, particularly on, say,
Pre-filter for air, as in a pre-cleaner?
on the top of the snorkel, particularly, say, Safari, which we probably most have?
Okay. I'm a strong advocate for Safari snorkels now that we've released this product, and I've had to pay attention to snorkels, whereas before we just didn't even bother. So I like the Safari product, and I will recommend that every day of the week. As far as pre-cleaners, it's another whole different topic, but effectively the old bowl type ones that you empty manually, or the cyclonic ones that throw the dust out, which if you're going to have that sort of thing, I would always go for that one because it's maintenance free. Those two are designed for things that move slowly. So if you're doing 30 Ks or less, they work fine. If you're going faster, they don't work at all. In fact, if you've got a bowl type one and you've been going slow and it gets a whole stack of dust in the bowl, and then you get on the highway and start belting down the highway, that will actually disturb all that dust and you'll suck it straight down the intake into the air filter. So completely wasted your time. You have to empty them when you see it, or get a centrifugal one that gets rid of it. But at road speed, they don't work because the airflow going past underneath disrupts their mechanism and they don't pre-clean at all. But at road speed, you probably don't need the pre-cleaning because it's probably not dusty. I always just advocate for an air ram because you don't need to stop and change things. Just put it on. It's a reasonable pre-cleaner at slow speed. If you've got our power core housing, they hold a lot of dirt. Like, I would challenge anyone to need to replace that element in 12 months. It holds a lot of dirt. So yeah, I would always go for an air ram, but personal opinion.
Tony, we've got a couple of questions from the Zoom audience, or Facebook, Zoom, sorry. First one is from Lee Burns. On an outback dusty trip, how often do the filters need changing out?
Hopefully never. Hopefully you can do probably a couple of trips in a year and it'll still be fine.
Okay, hope you heard that, Lee. Second one from Shane Hornby. I can confirm it's very easy to fit. Can you give an indication how long the filter should last in a touring environment? More specifically, should we carry a spare filter for a trip? How many retail outlets are available around Oz that sell these?
Okay, several portions of that question. Okay. As I said,
can you give an indication how long the filter should last in a touring environment?
As I said before, I defy anyone to fill one up, for want of a better term, in 12 months. I think, and the reason I say 12 months is we always recommend you changing the filter every 12 months, just because we want someone to have a look into any air cleaner housing at least once a year to make sure that nothing bad is happening. I've seen some horror stories when things get wet and they go hot and mouldy, especially in hot, humid climates like North Queensland and places like that. And air filter media, if it's wet and left for ages, it rots and then it's just got holes in it. And then it's not worth anything. So we want people to have a look at least once a year and replace it then. I would always advocate to have a spare filter on a trip because you never know what weird things can go wrong. So you're covering yourself, even if you won't need it. Murphy's Law, if you have it, you won't need it. But if you don't have it, you will.
And the last one was about retail outlets availability.
Okay. Because this is a new product and it's unique, so that element only fits this. I would encourage everyone to buy a replacement element when they're buying the housing, because at this stage, there will not be that many places around that have these elements. They will come in time and all of our distributors will have them. But at this point in time, probably none of them do.
And really just a comment from Scott Hamilton, fantastic presentation and what honest answers, especially about the spinner style pre-filter. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it from the online. Sorry, one more. You got one more?
Yep.
Another one from Scott. What is your thoughts on the uni-filter foam covers?
I hate them.
There you go.
They have their place. I rallied for 20 odd years. I used uni filters. It's a competition environment and you want airflow, but you want airflow and you are willing to sacrifice engine life as a result. And that's what happens if you use them and nothing else.
That's it from online.
Okay. I think we're good.
Any final questions in the room?
Thank you all.
Awards for Tony. Thank you very much, Tony, for making yourself available. Much appreciated, because it is an issue with the 200s. And going forward, of course, the 300s and the 79s presently as well, which looks like to be addressed in the market very soon. Now, I believe Wazza has a couple for sale. Is it two you have for sale down there, mate? There's two filters available at cheaper than retail. There you go, 1,050 club members. So you're saving yourself hundreds of dollars if you want one of those. And does anyone know the replacement value of a 200 series engine? And how much is it, mate? So it's about 30 grand for a replacement engine, and then you'll still be stuck with getting yourself a Donaldson afterwards. So make sure you address the new engine. Okay. All right. Now, Tony will be hanging around. So if you have any questions, or even if you want to purchase one of those tonight, and they are going like hotcakes, of course, with the 200 series guys, wander down, say hello to Tony, and then pick yourself up a filter. Do yourself a favour, as they say. Okay. Thanks very much. Now, moving on, so subcommittee reports. First one is driver training with Chris Treble. Okay, well, we have a replacement, Chris. He's a little shorter. He's a little better looking. There you go, mate.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, Chris is just getting over an operation, so he's asked me to give the report tonight. We're getting through the backlog of trainees that unfortunately couldn't get on courses last year. We've got 17 trainees coming up for the March course, which is held mid-April. So we're getting through a few of those, and the April course, which is held at the end of April or early May, we've got about 16 for that. So any of those people out there who are still wanting to get on a course, contact Chris, and we'll get you on as quickly as possible before all the wet weather gets through up the arc. And yeah, it's all going well. And Chris is going well, recovered from his operation. So he's laid up for the next 6 weeks doing very limited activity. So he's had a back operation, for those that you don't know. So we wish him all the best. And that's it. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Tony. And I know on behalf of the membership, Chris will be listening. If he's not on Zoom, he'll be on Facebook. And get well soon, Chris, mate. We look forward to you being back on deck soon. Okay, so next up we have the membership and 50th anniversary with Barb Bryant. Sorry, we have a replacement, Barb Bryant. We have Sandra Tanner coming up. How many in the room are coming up this weekend, including myself, of course? Fantastic. It's going to be a heck of a weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't had the 80 out for a little bit, so yeah, I'm going to be dragging the 80 out.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, we're all pretty excited. Bookings now are closed, but they have been overwhelming. The trips, I think all the trips are full now, which is wonderful. I hope it doesn't rain. Thank you. Too much. There's going to be lots of giveaway prizes on Saturday night during dinner. Sponsors will be attending. There's a major raffle to be drawn on Sunday morning while we're having breakfast. And that breakfast is free, 8:30. I think everybody got a program, didn't they, that it's attending? Yes. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Then we've got an auction. Ian's going to run an auction, and that's for corporate tickets to either the Geelong Giants game at GMHBA or the Collingwood Giants game. And the corporate tickets or ticket is worth $2,000, which means you're taken up to a room, you're given lunch and treated like royalty. So that's pretty good. So we hope to have a good auction for that. Thanks to the hard work and enthusiasm of the 50th team. They've been absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough praise for them. They've been absolutely wonderful, supportive and raring to go. And it's been wonderful working with them. We're looking forward to a great weekend. And we have got a few garments left with the 50th logo on them. If anybody's interested in purchasing them, we've got about 3 garments left if anybody wants to buy them. But for those that have booked and registered to go this weekend, we hope you'll have a wonderful time. I'm sure you will. And thank you for your support.
Thanks very much, Sandra. So it's on this weekend, all the preparation by the 50th subcommittee, and that's been going for years, ladies and gents, a dedicated bunch of volunteers, at least once a month, meeting and doing lots and lots of work in the background, involving various other subcommittees as well, trips, coordinating trips. And I know, I believe Tony Middleditch has had a lot to do with that as well. It's just, it'll be a fantastic event, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Be absolutely fantastic. And a big thank you to the 50th subcommittee. Well done, guys. Alison Hilton. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Simon. Thanks for almost taking over the presentation for me. So there's a number of us that are preparing for 2025 for the gathering, the national gathering. So just out of curiosity, hands up how many people went to the Western Australia gathering. So those of you in the room that went to that know that there's a large hurdle to leap over to at least be as good as what was done in Western Australia. And therefore, we've got quite a lot of work ahead of us. Just out of interest, the one before that, we're there every 3 years for those people that are new in the room. The one before that was in South Australia. How many people made it to South Australia? Oh, it's the same old hands going up. And then before that, we had Queensland. They held it up at Noosa and we went across to Fraser Island. And that was my first introduction to the national gatherings. Hands up again, how many people made it to Fraser Island? Oh my goodness. Okay, so Chris and I. Anyway, so they're excellent times. It's basically represented from all across Australia. We have everyone coming across and we allocate the positions accordingly to kind of what's reasonable for each state. So I want you to keep that in mind in terms of looking to come and be a Victorian on that trip. So we have the dates. So get your diaries out and decide whether you can make it. The dates are the 29th of March to the 5th of April, and that outlines to you what will be happening. So we'll need people to help with setup. On Sunday, we'll have registrations. We have someone who's in charge of registrations. but it'll be more than one person that'll be required to help with that. Then we have the conferences. So people like Simon get dragged away and can't go forward driving. They have to sit in meetings on that day and be part of the conference. It also gets determined, I think, at that conference, which state's going to hold the next meeting. And then from the 1st to the 4th of April, we have trips. The area is going to be Mansfield, so it'll be trips out of Mansfield. And the 5th of April is basically tidy up and move out. Next slide, please. So the venue is the Mansfield Showgrounds. These were taken down from Mansfield. I hope there's no one here from Mansfield Tourism to tell me that they're copyrighted. But basically, we're being allowed to use the showgrounds. Michael Martin and Peter Hepworth have been involved with the negotiations for this, and we know that we'll hold the number of people we need. There were very, very few sites that would hold that number of people. We're looking at 200 people and therefore about 100 vehicles. So it is a large group and we wanted everyone to be in one place together. We didn't want it to be divided out across 2 areas. And sometimes when that's happened, you know, one place is nicer than another. So we didn't really want that occurring. We'll be bringing in extra facilities, so extra toilet facilities and things like that. So it will absolutely, hopefully be up to speed in terms of coping with the number of people. So as I've said already, we're expecting around about 200 persons. And if you think about that, we've got 5 days of trips, 8 vehicles per trip, thereabouts, somewhere between 6 and 10. That's 40 trips. So, you know, all our trip leaders need to think about thinking what trip they'd like to run out of Mansfield. We're going to need as many people. I mean, some of us will be happy to do trips every day, but some of us might like a day off. So we will need as many trip leaders as possible to put their hands up and think about what trip they'd like to do in that vicinity. The budget, we expect that we'll be able to come in on the WA type of allocation. In fact, at this stage, rough estimates are putting us under that. But we need to recognise too that as we move forwards, cost of living is continually going up. So yeah, but we think we'll be able to, and I think that was from memory, the quote was somewhere around $250 to $260, but we'll keep you posted on that one. So it's never too soon to start marketing, and this is the first cut. This is basically taken or ripped off from the WA handout brochure that was given, and it basically just replaced the number of slides and photos they had with what I thought represented Victoria. The date might be wrong actually on that, but that's right. It should be self-promoting. Why is it not going ahead? Just put it up long enough to read it then. So I'll let you guys go through it. And any feedback would be welcome. My thinking is that over time, we will send out little promos to actually cover each of these slides separately, and through between now and the actual date of the meeting, build up a little bit more on the basis of the things that are mentioned on this promo video or PowerPoint. So we don't only need to have forward driving trips. There's lots of other things at Mansfield. Mansfield itself is lovely. There's obviously the ability to go to wineries. So there are other things to do. And there are obviously people, if they stay on, can do more things around Victoria. So that's kind of where we're up to. As I said, we're certainly looking for other people to come on board to help, with each of those subcommittee or headings that have been put up there. So if you're keen to be involved, just let us know and that would be wonderful. So thank you.
We're well underway. Now, we do have some late breaking news, so I'd like to welcome Barb to the podium.
Hi, everyone. Now, the reason I couldn't come up before is that I was in the middle of processing a donation to the Royal Flying Doctor Service, Victoria. We were notified by a club member that they were having a double the funds day today. So the committee, the organising committee of the 50th anniversary decided that as our funds were being donated to the Royal Flying Doctor Service, we take up the offer and donate it. So permission was we sought permission and permission was granted. And I can tell you we have just donated $1,500 of our own funds. So that now means $3,000 has gone to the Royal Flying Doctor Service. The total so far raised by them is $407,469 in one day. So not a bad effort for Victoria.
absolutely fantastic that the Royal Flying Doctor Services partners were matching every single donation from contributors like us right around Australia. So our $1.5 grand, which is a fantastic effort in itself, is just doubled. Certainly.
That money that we've donated was only part of what we've raised. We are still selling more tickets over there. So whatever we raise from that donation is also going. It won't be doubled, of course, but please, if you want to buy some tickets from Toyo for the tyres from Toyo Tyres or the fridge from ARB, tickets are over there, or you can purchase them online. Or if you're there on the evening, you can purchase them on at the night. Thank you.
Beauty, thanks very much. Okay, so moving on now, we have Alison Williams for the Geelong report. Welcome, Alison, again.
We had an interesting evening. We received our defibrillator from the club, the club's defibrillator that will be held in Geelong. And we all watched videos along with help from Dr. Matthew on how to use a defibrillator. That defibrillator is now on its way to the 50th gathering, just in case. Hopefully no one will need it. But hopefully there are people up there now who know how to use it. We'll have a social in April. Please keep an eye out on Weekend Wrap and Facebook for the details of that. Our next guest speaker in April is from XTM Fuel Additives. So he'll be coming along and telling us how wonderful their fuel additives are and why they're important for your vehicle, any vehicle. And he'll have some there for sale as well. Thanks, Simon.
Beauty, thanks very much. Is there any questions for Alison in regards to Geelong? Okay, can we get a microphone over to Ian over there? Yeah, studly young gentleman standing up against the wall there. What happened to who on Saturday night? Is this some foosball you speak of? I don't understand foosball, I'm sorry. Okay, so
all right,
he's got some great news.
So I just wanted to let you know tonight in the raffle, we have the voucher from Way Station. Our guest speaker last meeting was very kind in donating us a $350 voucher, which is a pretty big prize. So tonight, the first prize, if you want it, it's there. But there are also 3 other prizes. We've got the light bar, we've got the multi-tool. They normally recommend a retail about $100, so they're pretty good quality. And safety first, a snatch strap and winch cable dampener. All right, so if you want to be in a chance to get the Way Station voucher, you better be quick because the raffle closes in 10 minutes. Thank you.
All right, moving on with subcommittee reports, I'd like to welcome Brian to the podium up here to tell you all about Yark.
Okay. Yark. This would have been our maintenance weekend, but it's not. Our maintenance weekend is the following weekend. We expect quite a few people up there for that, which is 1st and 2nd of April. So be an April Fool and come up and help us get a few things done. Eamon's not here tonight, but he's sort of recovering. But we were planning on having the opening of the walk, Hilton to Verge Hut, but we're going to have that in April now. So Eamon should be back on deck. Oh, goodness me, that was fun and games at our bush dance. All right, okay. This last weekend gone, the CFA were having a field day, which I think got messed up a little bit with total fire bans and all that sort of stuff. It sort of planned on having, a few vehicles there from the club, but that just wasn't going to eventuate the way that weekend sort of turned out. There were a couple of the guys went up anyway, and they were quite pleased to see us there. Last month we had the CFA come in and they checked all of our fire extinguishers around the property. They rounded them up and they got stuck into those. They've all been tagged with the current tag, which is a yellow tag, and a foam fire extinguisher that we've got, they have to be replaced every 12 months. They can't sort of do anything with them. They have to send them off somewhere and pay some exorbitant amount of money to have them fixed up. So that was all undone. And Baz, he's our electrician up there. He went round and tagged all the power equipment that we've got up there, all the extension leads and everything like that. So that's something that he does every 12 months. So they're in current form. So you can be assured that you've got a safe bit of equipment up there if it's an electrical one. Our Yark management meeting next month has been brought forward a week because of Easter, that sort of thing. So it'll be on the 3rd of April. It just happens to be the day after our maintenance weekend. So it's all going to be happening there. And this coming weekend, there's going to be a few of us up at Yark. So anybody who sort of hasn't been able to get along to the 50th birthday party up at Mount Beauty, come up to Yark and we'll have a cake and we'll sing happy birthday as well. Okay, so we might see you up there.
Thanks very much, Ryan. No worries. All right, so moving on from there. Next is social. All right, we have a video to play for you guys. So this is a bush dance, and thanks to Viv Gardner for editing. So put the video up now.
Got a safety helmet on. Don't you laugh? The last person in the world is survived for a little while. Perfect fit. Oh, look at it. Thanks for challenging too. Oh wow. Just about time. Yay!
Camera? But it saves your face.
I'm videoing, sorry.
Yeah. No. Well done, that's close. That's close. Oh. Even comes with the silage extractor. The good little birdie tractor. Don't sit down, right shoulder. Left shoulder. Top couple holds in hands and charge straight down the middle.
Beautiful, well done. Swing your partner. Off you go. Right arm turn. Couple number 2, right arm turn. Couple number 1, left arm. Couple number 2, left arm turn. 2 hands. Couple number 1. Couple number 2, 2 hand turn. Right shoulder, close to go. Stood upon this rocky shore. I watched the tall ships come for 70,000 years. I'd be the first Australian. Came upon a prison ship, bound down by iron chains. I fought the land, endured the last, waited for the rains. I said, Mom, I'm a farmer's wife, on a dry and barren land. I'm a convict, then a free man, I became Australian. Let's talk couple. Let's talk couple. Hallelujah. No more. No more.
It looks like an absolutely fantastic time was had by all. And thanks very much to the coordinators, of course, Helen and Grace, and no doubt their respective other halves, and Viv for editing up the video. Okay, so moving on, special events. Steve Smith. Is Steve in the room? Ah, there we are, Steve. I'll tell you all about what's going on in special events, how we're recruiting new members by the dozen. Isn't that right, Steve? Hey, very close to a dozen. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Well, we just did the Mornington show, 4 days of wow, representing the club, I suppose. We managed to sign up 8 new members, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. I think the next show is the Melbourne show in August. So I suppose you'll be hearing from me before then. Find some more volunteers.
Now, with the Melbourne show coming up, of course, that's the largest show that we attend. And Steve will no doubt be reiterating this coming up closer. Volunteers, volunteers, volunteers. It's basically what you're after, isn't it, Steve? It'll be volunteers for setup, volunteers for pack up, and volunteers during the days as well. It'll be probably Thursday through to Sunday. Absolutely fantastic, because not only do you get free entry and decent parking, because you'll be there early, probably exhibitors parking. You'll get to get in for free, talk about what our club, which is absolutely fantastic, and then go and spend all your money in the afternoon, or vice versa. All right. Next one up we have is full drive Vic with Eric Bishop. Unfortunately, Eric Bishop's at a car rally, not a full drive rally. He's a vintage car rally. So we have Peter going to come up to you and tell you all about full drive Victoria. So I'd like to warm welcome to Peter.
There's not much of a report, because I think you probably would have all received your track watch in the last few days, which probably goes into it in a bit more depth. And that's all. But I was also asked by both Eric and Wayne to, I've got a small presentation here for the President in celebration. It's a plaque to offer their congratulations from Four Wheel Drive Victoria to the Toyota Club for their making 50 years. There you go.
Absolutely fantastic. Everyone should be proud of this. Everyone has made part of this, what has become what I consider the best club in Victoria, easily, by far. So no doubt, Brian, you'll be able to find a spot for this down at Yark. Beautiful. No worries. So I'll pass this on to Brian. And when you do see Wayne out in the back, he's usually stuck somewhere in his Amarok. After you recover him, don't forget to thank him. Okay. Beauty. Okay, moving on from there. Next one is webmaster. Usually it'd be Laurie Miles. I assume, Mike, you're taking the mantle there. Thanks, Mike.
Evening all. Yeah, so Laurie and Heidi are still down in Tassie at the moment. So he's travelling. He's got his Starlink, but he's just told me today that apparently it draws quite a lot of power. So if he gets Starlink, he's having to upgrade his battery system. He was telling me. So watch out for that one. Also, for those not aware, and I'm sure Laurie won't mind me passing this on, when he comes back next week, he'll be having some medical procedures. So he'll be out for a week or so, and he'll be sort of home nursing himself there for a bit. As far as the webmaster IT side, of course, as usual, if you've got any issues or any problems, please email the webmaster, and Laurie will get to those and respond to you. And that's the best way to do it, so he can chase those up if there's any issues. And just to thank to Chris for this evening for helping out. He's assisting with the audio tonight. So it was very much appreciated, Chris. Thank you for volunteering. And of course, David's doing a marvellous job, as he always does. And just on that note, we're always looking for more people to try and assist, because it is sort of about a 3 or 4 man team to put this on, not only in this room, but we live stream out to Zoom. We also do the Facebook as well simultaneously. So it takes a bit of coordination. So if you'd like to get involved, it's not hard. We'll show you what to do. So feel free to come and see me or one of the team up front. Are there any questions? All good. Thank you.
So we all realise what happens when Laurie's sick at home and can't go out, don't we? That means extra phone calls, okay? So charge up your mobile phones and brace for impact. There will be a lorification coming your way promptly. Okay. He's a great bloke, and he and his team do an absolutely fantastic job. And because, I mean, 10 years ago, it was a one-page web page with a phone number and a bit of an address at the bottom, or 15 years ago. And it's increased exponentially to not only include things like Zoom and Facebook, but also the database and the integration of pretty much everything onto that database. It's become a bit of a beast, and his team are doing an absolutely fantastic job getting their head around it. So on to the movie now. This is one Wazza and Anita, his lovely wife, Sprig of Run, and edited by Steve McAdam, the editing whiz.
Morning, Wazza. And if anybody says just one more, and it wasn't me that said one more last night. I don't know what you're talking about. But no idea. Good morning. Yeah. Just one more. Just one more. One more coffee? Done. He's recording. Oh, thank you very much, mate. You? No, he went to bed. I was first. No, it wasn't you. Ah, there's the culprit. I'm having coffee. Okay, so this morning's agenda, people. Yes. Welcome to day 2 of the Googs track trip. Today's agenda is into Mildura, and from Mildura we'll go out through Wentworth, Darren Galley, and head up towards Yunta. You can get fuel and food in Mildura on the way through. So thank you very much for listening, folks. That's all for now. Goodbye to Macca's TV channel. Charlie rolling. Thank you very much, Charlie.
If it's better when you That's so cute. David, pay attention.
Countryside.
It was on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on.
Yes. Well, if it's not on, it's not on.
But
and then
Turn
there
left.
pretty much we go through Lilydale.
Yeah.
In actual fact, when you get up to, I'm not sure whether it might be that station there, you literally run right through the property.
Okay.
And he's got sheds on the left hand side, and on the right hand side is the homestead and what have you. So we'll just take the side.
Going. We're nearly in Yunta. Not long to go now.
there's been a lot of rain up here, and of course the roads have closed, or some of the roads have closed anyway. We can't head north of Gunter, so our plan now is to head over to Portagutta.
Started as a whisper, message from a new world.
So that is out the window.
Is out the window.
Yes. No longer applies.
Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life.
Hey ho, plans have changed again. We're heading back the way we came because the roads are now open, and we should be in Arkaroola today. Let's see how things go. Catch ya.
Thursdays, I think, the days of Pitchy Railroad runs. What day of the week is it, Weather? Wednesday. Okay. What you doing, Becca? Charlie, put off the road. Beans and beer, what a good combination. We've got some mountains over to the west. Yeah, we sort of go around there. Right, turn off the highway. Thank you, Charlie. A little nipple up here on our right hand side I've always wanted to get into, but I think it's on private property. So this is pretty much what you get all the way up to the Gammon Ranges. Turning left, Charlie, to go to Rural Road. What did that sign say, mate? Left turn at Willie.
They're all saying closed, wasn't
That's what I thought it said. You think someone's just forgotten to change the sign over? Well, we'll just check the site again. Arkaroola said it was open to four-wheel drive. Macca's map is saying that it's open to four-wheel drive. go turn left, let me know when you turn left, please. Down two. Thank you.
Hold tight, I've been right where you're standing. Just hold tight to me. The world tries to beat you and leave you lonely, but there's light you see.
Yeah, make sure it's probably. Go. Yeah. Yeah. Or don't.
And where are we going? We're going to Lake From. From Lake From, we're going to Lee Creek. From Lee Creek, we're going to Maree and have a shower. Because apparently, the water's better at Maree.
Where's your hat? It's a bail press. Pretty good.
Meant to be in the traditional use zone between the hours of 5 a.m. and 3 p.m. And the traditional hunting area takes us all the way down to Lake From.
So I can take the language out of it. Gentlemen, Macca.
You take vision of yourself.
There you go, this is Macca at Lake From because they're all whinging about me taking video of them. So now I'm doing it. Thank you. And that's Lake From, by the way. Pretty cool, huh? Thank you.
Warren and Anita for running the trip. Has everyone seen enough of Wazza now? Anyone? No, he's a great bloke. He's getting some serious outback trips done, which is absolutely fantastic. I've seen Simpson crossings and all sorts of stuff from Wazza. So he's our current outback man. Well, and Anita, of course. He's truth be told, Anita probably runs the show, does she? Does she, Warren? Yeah. No, that's Anita's line when you're talking, mate. No. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, thanks very much, and of course, Steve McAdam for editing again. He's certainly a great editor. Now, I think I can finally close the meeting, can I, Ann? Okay, thank you all for your attention tonight. Now, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back same bat time, same bat channel next month, and don't forget Tony's over there, and Tony can tell you all about the Donaldson filters, and Wazza actually has a couple over there, and I believe it's first in, best dressed. So thank you for your attention, and I'll see you all next month.